Hey guys, I hope everybody's having a fantastic day, whether you're watching this in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the evening. I'm glad you're here. I want to take a quick second to thank all the channel members. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And welcome anyone who's new, who's just stopping by the channel. If you haven't had a chance yet and you're so inclined, please hit that subscribe button down below, bell notification icon. It really helps the channel out, and it'll also notify you when I release new content. So this is my most recent made in the USA knife that I purchased because it was available. I didn't have all that high expectations. I knew I wanted a stitch. I'd heard a lot of things about the Ram-Lok. I thought these were going to come in FRN. When I ordered it from DLT Trading, it said it was G10, but as we get into this a little closer, you'll see that it's not. But this is the Microtech Stitch Ram-Lok, or Microtech Ram-Lok Stitch. I'm going to warn you now, I will say Microsoft Stitch, like the computer company, because I'm an idiot. But it is a Microtech Stitch Ram-Lok. It is much more nimble, much more smooth. The Ram-Lok, for me, I thought it was going to be a very lazy detent that was hard to get out. I can flip this knife effortlessly because it is a reverse flick, thumb flick, or you can just pull the Ram-Lok and flick it out if you want to, I guess. But why I purchased this knife is it's always been this Borka Microtech collaboration of this blade shape. And this one's in M390 MK, which is Microtech's little tweaking of the M390 formula with Bowler, if I'm not mistaken, to make it a little bit different, kind of make it a signature steel. So it's, instead of M390, it's M390 MK. You have on this Stonewashed blade the Microtech logo and the Borka Blades logo. You've got this heavy jimping and this fantastic poon with a forward finger choil that is absolutely comfortable in my mini to large size hand, whether I use it in its furthest back grip or the way I use it 90% of the time, I'd say 100% of the time, choked up. This is, without doubt, the sharpest, or one of the sharpest knives I have had come in from the factory. Y'all might have seen this in the unboxing, but it has cut a lot since then. And the blade geometry seems to me, looking at it, like it's a hardy blade geometry, but it is so freaking slicey that I'm just amazed by the way it bites through this material. That was me just missing it all together, and y'all wonder why I'm a bad cutter. But anyway, this, I'm not going to go too long on the sharpness, but it blew my mind. Because if y'all want to get the basic, without the surprise gist of this video, and if y'all saw my top 10 USA made knives that I brought into my collection this year, this one made it, because it is absolutely mind-blowing to me. I was not, again, expecting much. I'd reviewed my good friend A to Z's MSI, which was the bigger sheep's foot Microtech that came out first. Or not first, but it's the first one that he picked up. It was in an FRN type of scale, I think, maybe G10. I reviewed that knife, had it for about a week, and I found it on the underside very, very sharp, which brings us to these scales. These scales are actually textured. I don't know if you can see that. I'm sure you can. They're very textured. They are allegedly G10 scales. You got this nice titanium backspacer, lanyard hole for lanyard lovers. You've got this very smooth Ram-Lok. But when I started looking at these scales closer, I did not see any G10 milling marks. And then when I look inside them, I don't see any what I see in G10 scales. So I went and got in my box. I don't know if you can hear that. I went and got in my box and pulled the SKU number off of it, and it comes up as an aluminum bodied stitch, Ram-Lok. So I don't know if it's the smoothest, nicest G10 I've ever felt, or if I happen to get an aluminum. But in either way, I am so ecstatic with this knife. I've been carrying it nonstop. Um, it's unique in that the body screws, let me get my driver out here, the body screws, the pivot is a T15. Yeah, the pivot's a T15, and the body screws are a deep, deep, nice T8. So I'm not going to break it down in this overview, but we will break it down the road. It is, I'm assuming, on bearings, but I can't be 100% sure. But guys, these scales are milled and they are contoured. So to me, where I thought this would be a very aggressive knife in the hand, and where the MSI felt very hard on the hand, like I needed to be wearing a glove, this knife, including the clip, do not give me any hot spots. I can tweak down on this thing. I have not gone out to shred cardboard with it, but I'm sure it will not only shred cardboard efficiently, it is, I would say, a premium Slurpee saver should you ever need it. And it carries like a much smaller knife. We'll compare it to some other knives here in a second. And these, at the time of recording this, these have been coming back into stock to DLT Trading Company about every other day. I see them in black, I see them in OD green, and I see them in tan. But the black was what I was after. It was in stock. I grabbed it. It was $300, which for me, a made in America knife, even with the expectations that I had that were well exceeded by this knife. This knife, like I said, has blown me away. One of the biggest surprises so far of 2023, because I've never owned a Microtech. I've never been a big fan of Microtech. Haven't liked much of what they've done. This knife kind of appealed to me, but I didn't want an automatic. The Borkas customs were cool, but you know, I'm not spending $6,000 on a knife. And you know, the materials that this is made with, again, exceeded my expectations to the max. So even on the G10 that I've seen on other websites that have a different model number than mine, it still has this milling pattern. So I still would imagine that even if mine happens to be, by a fluke of nature, aluminum, I think the G10 would be every bit as comfortable. I have no lock stick. It just flies open, guys. Let's take a look at this compared to some other knives so y'all can get an idea of how big it is. This is the Benchmade bug out. It is going to be a good bit bigger than the bug out. This is the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Right about the same length as the Paramilitary 2. This is the Warncliffe variety. Let's look at it next to the Benchmade Freak. Right about the same size as the Freak, maybe a 1/16 of an inch longer. And let's look at it next to a Hinderer XM18, 3.5 inch. So guys, maybe that gives you an idea. It's right in there around the size of the XM18, 3.5 inch. So breaking out my Javon promotional tape measure, it tells me that this knife comes in at 8.5 inches with a 3 3/4 inch blade with a little bit over, maybe right under 3 1/4 inch cutting area, and right under 5 inch handle. If I measure it up to that choil, I've got 5.5 inches from here to here. So I would think no matter what your hand size is, even if it's a big sausage hand, this knife would fit you comfortably. I've got a medium to large size hand, and I thought this knife was going to be bigger than what I would carry on the daily. I thought it was going to be more of a novelty knife. I have found that not to be the case at all. It carries very, very smoothly, goes in and out of pocket like a dream. Um, and it's just been a great knife, guys. I'm, again, blown away. I've handled these at shows, not in this particular variation, and I was not that impressed. I don't even know what drove me to buy this, except possibly just the fact that I'm a knife addict. But I love the blade shape. I think it's always been that blade, that aggressive posture, and then for it to come so sharp from the factory with such even grinds, with such nice jimping and wonderful scales. It's just it's all that to me, guys. I won't rave on it. I'll weigh it because it is a little heavier knife, 6.60 ounces, but 6.60 ounces of heat. Made in the USA heat. I'm stoked to have it. It is the first Microtech in my collection. I wanted to share it with you guys. This is a full overview with dimensions with my impressions after carrying it for a couple of weeks. I might come back and do some long-term impressions on it. We might do some tests. I don't do cut tests, but we might break it down at some point and see what we're working with and see how that Ram-Lok really works, because it looks to be very stable, that it just slides in there and keeps that blade tang from moving. That piece right here slides up and stops that blade, and it locks up tight as a drum. No lock rock, no side to side, very broad stop pin. Just a win, guys. I've been really impressed with it. If you guys are interested, check out DLT Trading. I'll leave a link just to DLT Trading, or you guys can Google it. But that's where I've seen these guys coming in. I've seen them show up at other retailers too, but I'd prefer to do business with small companies like DLT. They ship real quick. They don't leave it in processing for 2 days, and they send you what you order, or they send you something more than you ordered. Guys, thank you for watching the video. I hope you found it informative. I appreciate you more than you know. All I ask is if you please would look out for the guy or gal to your left. Please look out for the guy or gal to your right. Look out for each other. Go forward with love in your heart. Choose debate, not hate. I love y'all. Peace.